The members of Kingston Cowboys first came together during the best week of the year in New York. That wonderful period in August right before Labor Day when the natives flee for one last nip of vacation and the city seemed to pause ever so slightly to take a deep breath. On this mellow afternoon, from a perch on the long, crowded steps of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Marley Zimmerman and her best friend Teddy So were happy to watch the tourists soak up the city's endless beauty. Not just the museum mile that stretched along tree-lined Fifth Avenue, but also the parks, the amazing architecture, the monuments, restaurants and shops, the musicals on Broadway, rock shows downtown or jazz in Greenwich Village clubs, and the sights at Rockefeller Center, Soho, the Lower East Side, the Upper West Side, Chinatown, Wall Street, and Harlem. While Teddy bounced on stubby legs toward an ice cream truck, Marley noted how the remaining New Yorkers had slowed down too so they could also savor all the beauty that surrounded them, sipping the city's pleasures rather than gulping them down as usual. Chin balanced on fists, elbows on her knees, Marley smiled at the thought that today even the taxicabs on the half-empty streets just seemed to glide along. So far, it had been a great week. Echoing the easy pace surrounding her, Marley set out to explore the city. On Monday morning, she went to Bryant Park, behind the 42nd Library, and lazed in the grass while Skeeter skittered and stumbled chasing pigeons and squirrels. Then she took her down to the southern tip of the island to watch the sailboats on the Hudson, sharing a gyro sandwich she bought from a singing street vendor. Yesterday, while Skeeter stayed in their dad's studio, she and Teddy rode the 2 train over to Brooklyn for the scents and sights of the Botanical Garden. They switched to the Q train in Park Slope to ride way out to Coney Island for a hot dog at Nathan's and a scary trip on the rickety Cyclone roller coaster. Everywhere she went, she took her sweet time, doing what she wanted to do. This morning, she decided to walk with Teddy across the great lawn in Central Park and hang around the Met while they waited for Marisol, who promised a surprise. Now, amid the gazillion tourists on the museum steps, she and Teddy shared an orange popsicle as they talked to a boy they'd met not 15 minutes ago. "We're doing nothing," Marley had said, shading her eyes. "Join us." It seemed unlikely that the boy would. Of all the people on the Met steps and down on the sunny avenue, he was the only person wearing a suit, a black one, perfectly tailored, and a bow tie. But he did, with a formality Marley assumed was his habit. He introduced himself as Biseku Sissoko, from Mali. He started to stick out his hand, but seeing Marley's and Teddy's fingers were coated with sticky, orangey sugar, he nodded instead. "Where is the famous chaos of New York City?" he asked. "On vacation," Marley replied, squinting. "Are you going to sit? Looking up at you is burning my retinas." Biseku came down to the steps until his shadow covered Marley. "Where do you go to school?" Teddy asked. "I will be attending collegiate." "Teddy, too," Marley said. "I didn't see you at orientation," Teddy said. Biseku shrugged. "My father insisted I have my own orientation. He's the ambassador to the United Nations from my country. I don't think he will agree to permit me to become an ordinary American boy." Earlier, Marley had kicked off her flip-flops. Now she rolled up the bottom of her tatty jeans to expose her tanned legs to the sun's soothing rays. Teddy's pudgy legs were already catching the sun. He wore shiny green basketball shorts that draped below his knees. "He has sent me here to study the American collection," Biseku continued, nodding toward the museum's entrance. "If you want chaos, you'll find it in there," Marley said, throwing her thumb over her shoulder. Not many New Yorkers, though. Not this week.